Nameless Woman, Chapter 5, The Prophet. The woman easily found the inn at the address Jasper had provided her and strode up to the front desk to casually ask for her mark. A gray-haired, round-faced old woman at the front desk looked down at the shadow creature ignorantly with a bright smile. "Oh, you must be the youth that dear Abel called to help him out." Her round face crinkled into sweet dimples. "Bless you, child, bless you." Although nothing about the killer's outward appearance shifted, discomfort wormed itself into her belly. She wasn't sure where exactly the twinge of remorse came from, but she ignored it and gave as sweet a smile as she could muster, tooth-rotting really, trying desperately to hide the grimace behind it. "That would be me," she settled for a common northern accent, despite her clear Moellan heritage. She didn't know where this Abel had hired his youth from, so the safest bet was to use the accent the Tyrants preferred. "I'll go get him." With a soft grunt, the round lady pushed herself up and trotted off into the room behind the counter. As the woman leaned herself against the inn bar, a picture of ease, she decided then and there that she would have to kill him right when she met him. Just a quick stab between the ribs, through the heart. She'd utilized the roofs to escape. They were faster than the roads anyway. She might have to kill the round-faced woman, too, if she screamed. Although her tawny face was a blank mask of boredom, the woman's gut knotted itself so tight she wasn't sure she'd ever be able to untangle it. She took one measured breath and smoothed her nerves out like an iron to cloth. Her nightmares must have shaken something loose this morning. Not her best planning, and most certainly one of her worst jobs. What a way to finish a career. "Oh, dear." A man's voice broke the killer out of her morbidly humorous thoughts. His voice was gentle and aged. A high tenor in a man's barreled chest trembled slightly when he spoke. "No, I received word that the youth was a boy. Dear me." He came around the corner, and the woman was surprised to be looking straight into his eyes. He was short for a man. Actually, at only an inch taller than her, he was really just short for anyone. And he was odd-looking. She supposed that was the only way to describe him. Short and slightly heavy, with a round pot belly, he looked like a grandfather straight out of lore. His eyes were a gentle brown, twinkling with a knowing look. His nose was long and crooked, and his mouth had a permanent smile perched comfortably at each corner. He wore simple cloth garments, worn from a life of travel, and the strangest pair of pointy-toed boots she'd ever seen. "You aren't Redska Garrison," the funny-looking man chuckled matter-of-factly. Her belly twisted. She couldn't kill him while he was just standing here in the open, exposed and trusting. Yes, she could. She could almost hear her master sneering in her head. "Why, of course you can, child. This is the opportune moment if you must do a sloppy job. He doesn't have an inkling what's happening. It's not hard. Just take the knife." She had promised Jasper she'd at least speak to him first. This was why she didn't get to know her marks, or those who loved them. Her master had his insights. She was too damn soft. "Are you all right, child?" A calloused hand moved as if to touch the assassin's cheek. Silver eyes flashing, the woman jerked away from the gentle touch, startled and bewildered. I'm his sister," she blurted. "I'm Quella." She winced at her own choice of name. Why that name? Why that name? "Oh?" Abel raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? How very interesting." By that time, the woman was mentally cursing, but kept weaving the ridiculous lie into reality. Just for one conversation. That was all she needed to play along for. "My brother fell ill and sent me in his stead. I'm plenty strong and able," Quella assured him. "Oh, I'm sure you are," Abel smiled understandingly. "I was just interested in your name choice. Redska means gore, and Quella means to kill. I just wondered if there was a story behind that." He asked the question with that knowing twinkle in his eye, as though this was an absolutely normal conversation. She wondered if Jasper had sent him word that his would-be assassin was on the way. She might as well told him herself with her idiotic choice of name. Our parents didn't know the meanings when they named us that, she fumbled to explain. They just liked the sound of the names. The lie was somewhat convincing, considering she was clearly Moellan, and both the names were of northern origin. The plausibility of a Moellan couple giving their children northern names was quite real. It meant better opportunity for making a living, among other possible benefits. Of course, dear, he said softly, a very old and tired look falling over his face. Can I get you something to eat? You must be famished after your trip from Jarvik. Yes, sir, thank you. Jarvik? Where in the world was Jarvik? If that had been a test, she'd just failed it miserably. Marigold, would you get her something to eat? Warm, maybe. It's much too cold out these days. Why, of course, Abel, the round-faced woman said with a shy smile. A knowing look clouded the woman's silver eyes. She watched Marigold and Abel. The innkeeper clearly loved the prophet, although in what sort of way, the woman didn't know. She was at least one of the man's faithful followers, like Jasper. No priceless loved one was above being bought in blood and gold. So your brother sent you, did he? Abel said as they took a seat in one of the booths. Yes, sir, was the automatic reply, while a silver-lined black pupil casually glanced over the room once again for escape options. If she got to know him, killing him would be more of a pain for her. Did he inform you as to why I need the assistance? No, sir. Quella dragged her eyes back to meet his. Well, see, in my line of work... Her interest was immediately piqued as he hesitated on the word work. You need to be light on your feet and quick of mind, and while I've still got the mind, he laughed and patted his belly, I'm not quite as quick as I used to be, and not as strong either. So I need a young person to travel with me and assist me in carrying my supplies and, well, provide some help in those quicker maneuvering situations, if you know what I mean. The slightly amused and bored expression on Quella's face didn't betray that she did not know what he meant in the slightest. It irritated her. Perhaps the prophet's act was a cover for something else. Perhaps his following was not the reason the circle had given his name as her last on the list. Or perhaps there really were that many people who wanted him dead, and he needed someone to watch his back, someone to keep him safe. The thought made her nauseous, but she'd killed those who trusted her before. I'd also like to teach my trade to someone before I, retire, he finished vaguely. What kind of work? She asked callously. Unfortunately, not exactly the legal kind, he replied with an amused chuckle. It would be best if we discussed it outside the borders of the Triune stronghold. The woman stared at him, frustration brewing beneath her calm exterior. Why couldn't he just admit he was a prophet and let her finish him here? Why was she even asking these questions and not simply completing the job in the first place? She could easily just slide her blade beneath his ribs from under the table. She could escape through the window 4 feet away and hide in the dress shop 2 blocks down before escaping with an entirely new appearance. It would be easy. Over before Marigold got back. Then she'd be done. She'd never kill another soul. She'd pay off the circle and buy a ship and sail off the end of the world. But she bitterly nipped the plan off at the wick. Her instructions insisted that the proof of death was shown by bringing his head, properly preserved, to a meeting point in the capital city of Junturas. She could not make a quick escape with a dripping head in hand. Bile roiled in her gut as she looked at the strange little man sitting trustingly across from her and imagined sawing his head from his soft turtleneck and preserving it. She should have waited a day to have the night of rest without nightmares before attempting this. Are you quite all right, dear? A tender voice asked, and her attention was once again yanked back to the current predicament. You're a bit pale. Silver eyes blinked once, slowly, and an opaque smile shifted across her face. Of course, I'm fine. Despite her confident mask, she wasn't sure how to finish the sentence. Should she agree and kill him once they were out of town? Should she kill him now? Yes, I would like to join your travels, she finished. She'd move him out of town and kill him outside the city walls. It would at least spare Marigold. She'd agreed to kill one, and this was the last one. She'd avoid collateral damage and witnesses, if at all possible. "I don't pay well," he warned. "Perfectly fine," was the well-ironed response. She was getting paid plenty to kill him. "And I do have to admit, I have some dangerous people after me from time to time." "Obviously," flickered behind the blank mask set over silver eyes. "I'm glad I can be of service to you," she replied, her expression a mask of earnestness, showing a bit of false shame as she admitted, "My brother and I both need employment, and we've both fought a little in the outer rings when the season's in. I'm sure I can help keep you safe." She was despicable. Absolutely, completely, and unashamedly despicable. "Good. I'll get you a room for the night. We leave before dawn tomorrow," Abel said with that trusting, aged smile. His eyes were so bright and full of life, open and kind. When they parted, his eyes would be blank and cold and sightless. She swallowed the familiar sawdust in her throat and managed another small smile as she agreed. "Fine." Marigold brought Quella's food over, and Abel set up a registration for her room that night. She spent it lying awake, eyes wide open, staring at the wall, knowing that the man she was to kill the very next day was sleeping soundly just down the hall, completely unaware that his killer slept under the same roof as him. Despite her incredible breadth of experience, despite having done this same act hundreds of times before, dread filled her to the brim with a heaviness she could not describe. Like maggots, the guilt began to eat her alive. This is J.P. Vesna reading aloud from my debuting novel, The Nameless Woman, which is the first novella in a series called The Mancipitas Archives. I will be posting a new chapter bi-weekly until the complete novella is posted here on YouTube as a free audiobook. If you'd like to receive regular updates, be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram at The Mancipitas Archives, or check out my website at mancipitasarchives.com. And with that, I present to you The Nameless Woman.